Beautiful day here in Pittsburgh. We're excited. We got the ACC Network here today. Wes, Roddy's here, and that old quarterback from Florida State's here as well. So we're excited to have them all in town. We got another special guest today as well. Chancellor Gable will be here as well. So we're, heard, a few of our new staff members will be here. So it's always exciting to get, your boss, the chancellor here, and give her a chance to talk to the team a little bit. So it's always a good day. Questions?
Yeah, at this point in camp, you kind of know which true freshmen are standing out and have a chance to play. Who are some of those guys?
Good question. I just mentioned to EJ this morning when we had the time. I don't know if today's the day, but looking on offense, looking at true freshmen. Malachi Thomas, who I don't know if you guys have even met yet. Young tight end, has done an outstanding job so far, picking up stuff. He's tough. He's physical. I think he's going to be a special football player for us. Trying to think of anybody else on offense. That's a guy that stands out to me that's going to get some time. If he continues to progress, and there's, it's a big if. See what happens when we go to Acrisure this Sunday. Other guys on offense, true freshmen. That's what I would say there. I think Sincere will be a guy just because of what he did in the spring. He's a guy that can get that done. Francis Brew is another young guy that can get in and get some playing time. Jashir Whittington, same thing. A guy that shows spurts out there. We got to get the individual to transfer over to the team periods. And then in the back end, young guys, I would say that's about it. The linebacker, I tell you what, Cam Lindsey's done a nice job as well. It's Davin Bruton at the linebacker spot. There's Francis right there getting excited. But now I would say Davin and Cam Lindsey are other guys that are going to get on the field somehow, some way.
Some of the defensive guys yesterday talked about the amount of blitzes on Saturday and how you had to actually dial it back a little bit. How come you had to do that?
Who said that?
Kyle did.
Yeah.
Kyle did, yeah.
Well, I think we're usually about a 33% blitz team, and that's about what we were in the scrimmage. Somewhere between 30 and 34% is probably pretty much what we do, and I would say that's about what we were. So I don't know if maybe they're just talking spank or whatever, but I think that it's about normal.
But if you're going to dial it up to 50%, you wouldn't tell us about it, right?
I think that's too much. Like I said, all my Michigan State days, it was somewhere between 30 and 34%. And we're always going to try to keep it within that. I think it's just, especially, I always say this, your practice has to match what you are in a game. Okay, if you're in a game, you're this much. And if you're between, again, I don't ever, look at my practices, but you're somewhere between 30 and 34% is what I would guess. You want to practice the same thing. You can't practice at 50 because you're taken away from your base, if that makes any sense at all. So we try to keep it pretty much, within those numbers.
What do you like about, what do you know about these new ACC teams coming in, and what about the extra travel it's going to put onto your team?
Yeah, we got to travel to Dallas this year. I think one time a year we're going to have to take a trip, which is okay. That's not unusual. I'm sure it's going to be at a different time than maybe we're used to. I've taken trips out west and, gotten back at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, arrived back here on campus, finished the fourth quarter at 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning, which is something you can't practice. We're not going to practice at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, again, we've watched a lot of tape on Stanford and Cal, and just to see in SMU, of course. And again, we're familiar with SMU's, at least their offense from his Miami days. So, we know enough about them, but it's just like playing a bowl game kind of this first year. We'll figure out more as we go.
Yeah, last week we talked about the wide receivers. You brought up Kanate, and I think Poppy. Has anyone else kind of jumped out at you lately?
Yeah, I bring up Kanate because he's been the leader of that group. But Dejon Reynolds continues to be a guy that can play a lot of football for us and make some big plays for us. He's got sure hands and he's got good speed. He's physical in his routes. I'm trying to think of who else. Kenny. I mentioned Kenny Johnson.
Not last week.
Kenny. Is always good. I'd say we got 5 guys right now that can consistently go out there and help us win a championship, and but we'd like 3 or 4 more.
Less than a minute, maybe 1 or 2 more, please.
How do you see the running back room shaping up?
The running back room, I tell you what, Derek Davis has done a nice job of, we know who the first two contenders are, but Derek Davis and Daniel Carter, has picked it up the last couple of days. I was a little disappointed earlier, but he's picked it up the last couple of days. So, it's a work in progress.
One more?
Cooper and Moore still battling out that center spot right there.
They are battling out. Yeah, there's a battle. The battle's not going to end until probably after the scrimmage.
Okay.
And maybe into the